Kelly J. Patriot. Mayday! Mayday! All hands on deck! Wake up, America!
Welcome, fellow liberators and patriots alike. This is Liberty Report, and I'm proud to announce the host of your show, the host of Live Liberty Report Live with Kelly J. Patriot, the host of tonight's show, Kelly J. Patriot. Welcome, brother.
Hey, welcome, Chadwick, and all the listeners out there. God bless you. God bless America. And the title of our show, Mayday, Mayday, all hands on deck. If you saw a little preview last week, the little announcement we did about the show, we kind of went through a little history of what's happened over the last couple of years and kind of when it all started. And it all started prior to the 2020 election. And here in California, a big, big day was May 1st, May 1st, 2020. And on that day, we had a rally in Huntington Beach, and the state was trying to shut us down. And ever since that time, we've been fighting a tyrannical government, and what we've been trying to do throughout, and as you can see on my shirt here, 1776, forever free, they've been trying to take our rights away, trying to take away our human dignity, and we stood up at that time, and I think they're going to try to do it again in 2024, so we're going to need all hands on deck going forward, and with Liberty Report and Kelly J. Patriot, we're here to help everyone continue to seek the truth and keep the faith during these difficult times. And I've said it before, it's been like opposite day and Groundhog Day for a couple years now. And going back to May Day 2020 in Huntington Beach, I think all around the country, but in California in particular, they were trying to shut us down. They were trying to keep us from going to the beaches. And they were, I don't know if they started to mask yet or not, but they were trying to take away our rights. And we saw what was going on, and we couldn't allow that to happen. We have certain basic human rights also set forth in the Constitution. And unfortunately, the government has been pressing so hard the last couple of years, taking away those rights, that we kind of forgot where we came from. And where we came from was initially one nation under God, going back to 1776 and around that time frame. And it's so important that we stand up for our rights and for everything that made America great, because we know that those dark forces are trying to take us down. So we're here to serve God's army. Don't forget that. And going forward, we need to have all hands on deck, people standing up, being strong as we go forward, especially with what's been going on since that time. But going back in time to May 1st, 2020, as they were trying to shut California down, we stepped up. We had a big, big rally that day in Huntington Beach because Governor Newsom, and if you saw him recently in that debate with Governor DeSantis from Florida, you really got to see the difference between the East Coast, the left coast, and the difference of opinion between red states and blue states. And I've seen some speakers since that time. Governor Newsom, you can't believe what he says, kind of like an attorney. How can you tell when Governor Newsom is lying? His lips are moving. So in any case, they blame COVID for being the problem in California. It wasn't. It was Governor Newsom and what they did with coronavirus. And at the rally that day in Huntington Beach, I had a little flyer that we'll show a little bit later, but it basically was just raising attention to what they were trying to do in terms of taking away our rights, constitutionally protected rights. And in times where there is maybe a crisis in our country, that's a time in particular that we need to rely and be able to stand up on those constitutional rights. So going back in time, Chadwick, we have some pictures. If you can kind of show us, we'll show you a couple pictures with respect to what was happening in Huntington Beach going back to.
Oh, Kelly, I lost you there. Hey, Kelly, I lost you there, brother. You got audio? And Selena, thank you for the updates here. I do appreciate that. And it looks like we lost Kelly totally right now. So he'll have to join back in. You guys, we've had quite the issues trying to get this live stream going. If it's the 5th day of the week and it's the 5th hour of the day, then you know we're live. But that just didn't happen today, as Kelly was having technical issues like we always so happen to have. But he has joined back in. It looks like he has some internet connection issues.
So back on live, I appreciate it.
All right, Kelly, 1 second. I'll bring you in as soon as I see you connected well enough. You are very choppy there. You may have an internet connection issue as you're chopping it out. But like I said, he's jumping in. He's been going through the ringer lately. Satan is a powerful force, but he is no power within the godly people, and we'll keep going. It looks like Kelly's back with us. Let me bring him in. Like I said, Selena, I appreciate you giving the updates. Okay, let me bring you in, Kelly. One momento. Get you set back up on the screen. All right, Kelly, welcome back.
Thank you, Chadwick. As we were talking, front lines active duty starting back in May here in California, and stepping up to what they were trying to do. And imagine this, that they would try to shut down the beaches in California, where we know that the vitamin C, being outdoors and living life and not being contained, not masking up and breathing your own air and germs and all. So what they were trying to do in California, we had quite a pushback starting from that time, May 1st. And Chadwick, if you could go ahead and pull up and kind of show them what was happening in Huntington Beach. And we got a few pictures to show you, and then also a video. But if you want to kind of pull that up, and we'll kind of explain and show what was going on, because the people certainly were stepping up and not happy with what Governor Newsom was doing. Yeah, and if you can see, I believe, I don't know how clearly you can see, but they had the Orange County sheriffs out on horseback. They had probably 30 sheriffs on horseback. There was a whole line of police behind them, and they were there because there were protesters that stood up to what they were trying to do to the California residents at that time. So hopefully you can see what was happening there. There were people, this was at Main Street and PCH in Huntington Beach. There were rallies all around California that day, and we'll move along here a little bit later, and we'll show what we were doing in Laguna Beach the next day. But this was Huntington Beach on the first day of the rallies, and the people were stepping up and letting Governor Newsom, they also call him Gruesome or Grussolini, that type of thing, but we sure don't support him, and in all likelihood, he didn't win the recall election, but we all know about elections and voting, and also we just kind of stay away from that. And once again, we're trying to seek the truth and keep the faith in the meantime. So, Chad, if you want to go to the next picture there and kind of show what were the sentiments of some of the people here in California. I think this gal, yeah, she was kind of calling a spade early on, because a lot of people didn't really believe what was going on with regard to that little virus they said was floating around. There was a lot of skepticism, and in the long run, it wasn't the virus that knocked down California. It was the mandates that Governor Newsom enacted at that time. And there were a lot of governors, especially in the blue states around the country, that were doing the same thing at that time. And I think we have another picture showing her sentiments a little more clearly there. If you want to move on to the next one, it very clearly showed kind of what her thoughts were of what was going on with regard to shutting down California.
I have a question. So we saw her. Most people outside of California, Kelly, believe that California is not red and it's very liberal. But as we could see you going out and really seeing the streets, can you tell people what California really is?
Well, there's a misconception. Orange County used to be heavily Republican. When I was a young attorney, I was an officer with Orange County Young Republican for 4 years, and it was probably 60, 70% Republican. And over time, it's kind of changed, and they kind of call it maybe purple a little bit now. But Orange County remains a strong conservative bastion of California, and also San Diego. Obviously much different from Los Angeles and San Francisco, but we have a lot of patriots in Orange County, including Tony Roman at Basilico's Restaurants, who had those two rules during COVID. First of all, you couldn't wear a mask in the restaurant, and then later on, you had to show proof that you had not been vaccinated. So there are a lot of folks in Orange County that stand up, and a lot of people that I saw would come down from Los Angeles, would come down from other areas to Orange County because a lot of restaurants and businesses stayed open, whereas in Los Angeles and other areas, they completely shut it down. So that was 2020, and leading up to 2024, we'll talk about that a little bit later. I think they'll try to do the same thing, but as you've seen recently, they're trying to create a lot of chaos, confusion, distraction, and division so that we aren't focusing on some of the other things that are happening that they don't want us to see, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But Orange County is strong, and do you have another picture, Chadwick, of Huntington Beach? That Mayday, all hands on deck, and I think we have a video too here eventually. But
yes.
Go ahead and flip the next one.
I do. I just want to ask Selena. She's kind of helping me through this audio issue. There was a little echo when we were both on screen. We're both on screen now, and I think I fixed that, Selena, so you go ahead and let me know. I think I know why that was. But this next picture, Kelly, maybe you could give a little background on what was going on before I open it up. If you like,
yeah.
If you like beautiful conservative women, this is the next picture coming up. Kelly, what was going on here?
This was interesting. Yeah, this was the crosswalk at PCH in Maine, and there were a lot of people going back and forth, a lot of people over by the pier. I think the police were actually trying to block the pier, and I'm not sure whether or not it was shut down at that time, but at one point, they physically shut down and locked the pier and kept people from walking along the quarter-mile pier, once again, to get some exercise, to get some fresh air, a little vitamin C, and that type of thing. And these gals, they didn't have it either. And I think it said, this sticker said something about Newsom, and a gal separated a bit, as they do here in California. And, as they say, they like those Southern California girls. The Beach Boys, I think, used to sing about that a little bit. So if you want to go ahead and show that, these are some gals that were coming across the crosswalk there in Huntington Beach there on May 1st, protesting in their own special way. That was, and I think part of her protest was that she took a sticker that was Newsom, ripped it in half, and then covered herself appropriately to voice her displeasure. So once again, people do it in their own way, young to old. You saw the gal who had the "This is BS" sign. She was probably about my age, kind of middle age, that kind of thing, and so that wasn't a variety of people were there protesting, standing up. And in fact, there were some young kids too, and one of them I had a chance to give him one of our Trump flags, and he ran around the intersection while the lights were changing one time. So I don't know if we have a video of that one or not, but we have a video I think coming up of one of the patriots there speaking up and once again voicing his displeasure with regard to what the government was doing to take away our rights at that time.
We'll play that right now. Let me get that pulled up. Here we go.
Fight for our freedom!
That's right!
We're not gonna let Gavin Newsom take our freedom with his draconian laws and his fucked up knees!
No way! No way! Don't tread on me! Don't tread on me! Don't even think about it!
Fuck you!
No way! Don't tread on me! Don't even fucking think about it!
Right! Don't tread on me! The
hold this and get me in there too? Chris, in there, buddy. Just hold it. I think it's on video.
Now that's funny. Was that you yelling, "Don't tread on me," Kelly?
While I was filming, and that guy with
wait,
the
hold on. I hear an echo here.
Yeah,
Let me make sure. Okay, there you go. You're good to go.
and that gentleman there, he wasn't happy either, and he was voicing his displeasure. And I was just kind of letting him know where I was coming from, which was, don't tread on me, and don't take our rights away, and don't tell us that we can't go somewhere. Don't tell us that we can't go peacefully assemble or travel freely in our own country. And I had a couple comments on that the next day in Laguna Beach, which I'll mention once we get to May 2nd. But this is May 1st, Mayday, all hands on deck in Huntington Beach. And once again, there were rallies all around the state that day, in particular in Orange County. LA, they were probably just staying inside at home masked up, and some of them double masking. It's amazing. You see people even driving around their cars masked by themselves. And as we know, and even as Dr. Fauci said and did a study before all this happened, masks don't work. They don't help you. But yet, the government's continued to push, and the people aren't happy. We, the people, are not going to stand for it. We didn't in 2020, and we're not going to stand for it in 2024 leading up to the next election. So that was May Day. And do we have the flyer? Are you able to put the flyer up on screen just briefly? And I'll read a little bit. It might be hard to read, so I'll kind of tell you what my sentiments were leading into that day. And this is a flyer that I had made maybe 100 copies or so, and then passed them out that day. And let me know when you cue that up, Chadwick, and I'll go ahead and kind of give them a better idea of what that says in case they can't read it fully on screen.
Okay, it's pulled up.
Okay. So once again, Mayday, and this was 2020, as indicated, all hands on deck. And the response to the virus was an attack on human liberties and civil rights, and government basically trying to show power and control over the people. And my flyer said, stand up for our country and our / constitutional rights and fundamental freedoms, and stop excessive governmental control and interference regarding this coronavirus hoax, I called it at the time. And that was thanks to Dr. Fauci, Bill Gates, the Democratic Party, mainstream media, and their allies. And I made a reference to watch outoftheshadows.org, and then I mentioned another video to watch at that time. But once again, from the inception, as it says here in the flyer, don't be afraid of the truth and step up if you care about your family and your country's future. So. And then in the middle, a flag, and it says, "Land of the free, because of the brave," and God bless America. And I also put a little blip from Dr. Veltmeyer that he first posted in January of 2019 regarding Democratic Party elites. And this is an excerpt from that. And I actually had another flyer. There was a 2-pager that I also distributed that gave his full statement. They really talked about what they were trying to do, what they're trying to do to President Trump, and why, and effectively that they had Trump derangement syndrome early on, even at that time. But following God Bless America, this is Dr. Veltmeyer. Of course, and it relates to kind of what they were trying to do at that time. Of course, socialism itself has never been a system intended to help anyone other than the elite ruling class of a nation who see it not as a way to raise up the poor and working class, but as a way to keep them down and under control, stifling their ambition and upward mobility. Socialism is slavery or serfdom, pure and simple. And the doctor said, I'm from South America, so I know a little about tyranny. And socialism is tyranny, he said. Even Marx saw socialism as only the phase preceding communism. However, far from the withering away of the state, socialism's final stage, communism, only leads to a totalitarian terror state that bulldozes human liberty and enslaves the human soul. So that's what we recognized at that time, and we can kind of look back and see what's happened since that time. And at the bottom of this, if you can see that, it says, "Don't tread on me." And then also there's a little excerpt from Thomas Jefferson, and an esteemed statesman. And he had to say, this is a quote from Thomas Jefferson, "How little do my countrymen know what precious blessings they are in possession of, and which no other people on earth enjoy." I believe what he was referring to is the freedom that we've always had in the United States, and the foundation of that is our Constitution, and that's what they've been trampling on these last couple of years. So that's why it's so important that we have all hands on deck, that people recognize what's happening, and that we don't allow this to happen again. And after May 1st, which was Mayday, Mayday, all hands on deck. It didn't stop then. The next day, we were down in Laguna Beach. We heard that Laguna Beach, which is about 20 minutes south of Huntington Beach, it goes Huntington, Newport Beach, Corona del Mar, kind of Newport Coast, and then Laguna Beach. And down at the main beach in Laguna, it was quite a day, and a little bit different from Huntington, because that day they actually tried to arrest somebody that went onto the beach, and we'll show you what happened. So Chadwick, if you want to start queuing up pictures from Laguna Beach, which was May 2nd, and we'll go ahead and show those to our audience and chat about what happened at the May 2nd of 2020.
All right. This next picture is going to be of you and MAGA Hulk before he went to California. Selena, I appreciate the update. Muffle is
You mean
worse.
before he went to Arizona?
Kelly, I'm going to try to fix your audio real quick because Selena's saying it is super muffled. And I believe I'll have to do it when I put your microphone back on. But let's go ahead and set up this picture with MAGA Hulk.
That was Steve when he still lived out here in California, and he was a major patriot, spiritual man, and he stood up for freedom. He had the American flag. He stood strong. I met him that day. Saw him several other times in California, and now you said when he was he's gone out to Arizona since this time, and I believe he's working with Turning Point USA maybe in some of the patriot groups that are out there in the Phoenix area. But that is Steve, who then became known as MAGA Hulk, and I believe he mentioned that he maybe used to be a Democrat, but he figured out what was going on. And he, like so many other African Americans around the country, realized that the government, especially the Democrats, were not protecting them, and they were trying to take away their rights also and not protect them. So he had figured that out as of early May. And I think you have some other pictures there, Chadwick, MAGA Hulk and I, and some other patriots there down at the beach.
Yes. Next one is the four of you with MAGA Hulk. There it is.
And basically stood up and for our country and for our rights and freedoms, especially that they were trying to take away in California. So I hope this shows you that California is not full of lost souls. There are people out here that care about our rights, care about our freedom, and we're not going to back down. So, and in fact, what happened that day, and I think these next couple pictures will kind of show the area, most of the activity was along Pacific Coast Highway in Laguna Beach, both sides of PCH, people with flags, banners, signs. And during that time frame, someone ventured down to the beach. I believe it was a female. A gal went down on the beach, and a police officer went to arrest her. And then all of the people who were on the street, both sides of PCH, then poured over onto the beach and went out to where she was. And as a result, she wasn't arrested, and the police, there wasn't much they could do because they realized that we, the people, have rights, And I believe they ultimately realized that it wasn't proper to be taking away someone's right to simply go out and walk on the beach. And I'll tell you what I had to say a little bit later, Chad, because you go ahead and flip those pictures if you could from there at Laguna Beach. And what does that sign say? Yeah. So the sign says COVID-19, a test run at socialism. So at that time, they were trying to see if they could take away our rights, mask us up, and take away certain human liberties. And if so, they were going to just keep doing it until we became a socialist country. And then, as mentioned earlier, what's after socialism? Communism. So Gal was there with the sign, very proud patriots. And I think we have another sign of her down on the beach. Okay. Okay. And so you can see those pictures. So that's what was happening down at Laguna Beach during that time. And ultimately it led up. And if you can see behind, can you see behind down towards the beach, all the people on that picture, Chad? So that is all the people that were down there. And after seeing a gal that was in the picture with the gal with the pasties, the three gals, and then the other gal who had a bullhorn with her off to the side, that encouraged me to go to Harbor Freight, I believe it was, and I got a bullhorn and had one there that day. And as everybody was pouring onto the beach, and if you can go to the one picture, Chad, it was maybe two up, that shows everybody behind me, and I believe that shows all the people that started pouring out onto the beach. And I stayed there on kind of the boardwalk going out to the beach, and on my bullhorn started yelling about Normandy and D-Day and people dying on the beaches of Normandy for our freedom. And they were not even letting our people, United States citizens, go on the beaches in our own country. So to me, that just didn't seem right. And everybody stood up and did not tolerate them taking away our rights. And from that point forward, Laguna Beach, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, throughout Orange County and throughout the state of California, more and more people stood up to the tyranny that Governor Newsom was trying to impose upon us at that time. And if that's all the pictures from Laguna Beach, Chadwick, I believe we have maybe a picture too then from the next day, and this would be May 3rd, back in Huntington Beach. And we had a couple pictures there of folks, including, do you have the one about the one gentleman that was kind of dressed up a little bit?
Well, the next one we have up is going to be surfer guy.
Surfboard.
Yeah, so let's pull that one up right now.
Okay.
I'm going to cue it.
Okay.
Here we go. It's up now on the screen.
All right. So those are some surfers. I believe the one guy had his surfboard there because he went surfing that day. How can you tell a surfer not to go surfing in California? And the other gentleman had a sign up too, protesting with regard to what they were doing and trying to shut down California. And it wasn't right, and the people weren't happy, and they were standing up. So young people, old people, everybody didn't like what was going on. And then I think the next one is the gentleman that had a little more formal attire. Is that right? And so as you can see, this gentleman had on a jacket, fancy shorts, and his sign said formal protest, formal protest. And as you can see, if you can see, my sign said protesters don't take weekends off. So you can't just say, hey, I'll give up my rights some of the time and not worry about it and not say anything about it. But in terms of myself, Kelly J. Patriot, a lot of other patriots in California and certainly around the country, we're not going to take it any day of the week. We're not going to take a day off. We need to stand up at all times for our rights and for our freedoms. So we were doing that day, and many days since then. I went back and pulling these pictures, looking back over that time frame, and we were out several times a week, every weekend, and throughout Southern California and throughout the state, as we were trying to stand up for our rights. And Chadwick, what's the next one up?
The next one up, I think people could hear me now. I only had your mic on there. And I apologize for the audios. We'll get it situated soon enough. The next, that's the end of the pictures. Our next one is the meme, the great meme.
The meme. Let me put my glasses on so I can read that in case you can't see it. And it's appropriate that this gentleman from the Twilight Zone, because what was going on in California throughout our country was kind of like the Twilight Zone. It was happening, but people didn't really understand why it was happening and didn't really think it was right and that type of thing. And they were calling it the coronavirus, keep in mind, the coronavirus. And this meme says it has a sign pointing landing and a sign behind his left shoulder saying tacos to go. And keep in mind that this time period was the beginning of May 2020. And this meme says, imagine, if you will, a world where Cinco de Mayo falls on Taco Tuesday, only to be ruined by a virus named after a Mexican beer. So that year, Taco Tuesday was Cinco de Mayo. And I don't think they let people go out, or they're trying to shut everything down at that point after a virus named after a Mexican beer. So that was kind of ironic that would happen, but it did happen. And the people in California and throughout the country were not happy about that. So in any case, it's just going back in kind of our little chronology of all of the historical times and biblical times that we're currently experiencing. This was kind of the start. This is the start and the first time that people kind of realized that, hey, this isn't right. And this is when our government really took their first step to knock us down. And in Orange County, we weren't happy about it. We stood up, and all around the country, at least places where people that cared stood up and had their voices heard during that time. Chadwick, do you have any other pictures right now right there?
That's it.
That's it? All right, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, this was the first step, as I mentioned, of many since that time. And leading up to the election, they rolled the virus out. They kept coming up with different strains, and all of which they tried to use as justification for trying to take away our rights. And it's so important now that we don't allow that to happen coming up in 2024. And in fact, you've heard, do not comply. If they want to have you put on a mask, do not comply. We know that masks don't help. We know that the particles can still pass through them. And in addition, with regard to the jab, why would we take a jab when it's a higher percentage of having an adverse reaction or including death than having a problem with whatever type of virus or whatever type of thing they're trying to push upon us? So it's so important that people know the truth. And what we're trying to hear, we aren't going out and beating people over the head with a stick. We're trying to spread love and knowledge and let people know what's going on so that they can make an informed decision and not be forced by the government to do what the government wants you to do. So hopefully everybody has learned a lesson from what happened in 2020. We got 2024 coming up, and what are they doing now? They're trying to say that there's something else coming out of China. I don't believe it, and you shouldn't either. And what else is going on? Wars begin, chaos. They're saying, oh, we may have a cyber attack, and things like that. They're saying our power grid may go down. So when they say things like that, it's usually something that they're planning on doing. So I was a Boy Scout when I was young back in Ohio, and they used to tell us to be prepared. So I'd recommend that to everybody out there. And don't be confused, distracted, or divided by what's going on. We began this country as one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, and that's how we need to be. So everybody needs to step up, stand up, be strong, have your eyes open, your ears open, have faith in God, and certainly not the government after what we've been through the last couple years. So on behalf of Kelly J. Patriot and Liberty Report, thank you so much for joining us. This is our first segment of Liberty Report Live with Kelly J. Patriot. Chadwick has a few words to say, and I also would like to also mention our sponsor, and that's My Pillow, Mike Lindell, who's taken more heat than just about anybody. And if you can go out, especially with the holidays coming up, go out and get a fine My Pillow product, from pillows to sheets, comforters to mattresses to dog beds and all kinds of related products. And I'll tell you what, I have several at home, including the slippers, and they're all great. And Chadwick, we got to do a short video on me knocking out on that travel pillow at some point in time, because I tell you what, that verifies that certainly does work. So if you go out and you order My Pillow, go to mypillow.com, order whatever you want leading up to the holidays. And the promo code for Liberty Report is God Wins. God wins, either with or without a space in between, but God wins, and we need to keep that in mind going forward, because there's a lot of dark forces attacking us, but there always comes light, and that light and the truth is coming strong. So once again, keep your eyes and ears open. And here at Liberty Report, we are pro-love and pro-life. We support life. And as I've said before, if you can see me, you can hear me, that means your parents chose life. So why don't you too? And in any case, once again, front lines, active duty, here to serve God's army. Kelly J. Patriot, Chad, I'll give it back to you for a couple more words, some more wise words here. Go ahead.
Alrighty, I think I know why there was an echo. Selena, I'm seeing you say there's some echo. I think I had two microphones going. My apologies. Now, I just saw, Kelly, as you were giving such great information, that our First Lady, Melania Trump, is in favor for a vice president for Donald Trump. Have you heard who she would like the vice president to be?
I would be curious, because there's a lot of qualified people out there, and we've heard a little scuttlebutt. But what is Melania saying?
She's advocating for none other than the great free speech advocate Tucker Carlson.
Wow, I'll tell you what, I don't think you could go wrong. I know that they went to that the MMA fight recently with President Trump, I think in New York, and they had quite a welcome. And with his knowledge and background and experience, especially dealing with the media, I think that would be a powerful combination. So I think he would be a good choice. And much like President Trump, he really doesn't have a political background, and he's into free speech. He's into getting people knowledge and information. So once again, they can make an informed decision. So I would support Tucker Carlson. And you know that people are good if you have the left attacking them, and they certainly attack Tucker, much like they attack President Trump. And a lot of folks out there have Trump derangement syndrome. And, you know, once again, I think when all the truth comes out, then we'll see really what's going on. And I'm not pressing real hard on people in the meantime, but just seek the truth and keep the faith in the meantime, and let's see what the reality is. So I think that'd be a good call, Chadwick. And also, there's a lot of good candidates. Now, that's vice president. We got another great candidate I think we need to mention out in Arizona, who's running for Congress, and that is none other than Jerome Davison, Jerone Davison, Davison. If you go check him out on Twitter, True Social, and other places, he's a pastor. He loves God, Team Jesus, Team USA. He's a former NFL running back. He played at Arizona State also. And he recently, and Chadwick, you were with us in Los Angeles. He came out and he was on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and an hour-plus interview. They've broken it down in some segments, and we'll be reviewing some of that later at some point. But Jerome Davison for Congress in Arizona. You can support him whether or not you live in Arizona or out of the state. You just have to be a United States citizen. So I'll tell you what, I've known Jerome for a couple years now, and he's a great man. I've seen him speak at a lot of events in Arizona, and at times I've seen him go up there and he'll have 5 or 10 minutes. He'll turn it into about a 12-minute sermon, and he just preaches to people and he loves God. He loves Jesus. And go ahead and check out that Jesse Lee Peterson. Maybe we'll put a link down below where you can see that. He also had a segment about Obama and all the things, the bad things that Obama did to our country and against African Americans. So in any case, there's a lot of things going on, and each week we will have a timely topic. Tonight it was Mayday, Mayday, all hands on deck, looking back at what happened in 2020 and making sure that we can learn from history and I think past mistakes that the government made in terms of not being in the for the benefit of we the people, so that we the people can stand up next time a little stronger and take decisive action and stand up and uphold our rights that are given both by God and the United States Constitution. So on behalf of Kelly J. Patriot, this is Liberty Report Live. Until next time, and once again, my pillow, and don't forget, God wins.
Amen. God wins, baby. Use it at checkout. We'll see you guys next time.